Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to a special coronavirus edition of My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, coming to you once again live via Zoom and being socially distant as recommended. Today we're going to be talking about supermarkets, and who better to talk to than Mr. Stew Leonard Jr., the president and CEO of Stew Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods. The organization has two Long Island locations, Airport Plaza in Farmingdale and Front Street in East Meadow. Stew, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Okay, Bill, thank you. I'm happy to be with you.
Stu, first of all, how has the virus affected you personally?
You know what? I don't think it has affected me personally because I've still been working every day, like every day, because there's been stuff going on 7 days a week. I think, I feel good. I'm 65 years old. I feel like, I've practiced every single thing that we've learned a lot about it since we've had to have 7 stores open during the this whole pandemic. So, but personally, I feel good. My wife of 36 years still loves me, after all the stuff we've been going through. And, I've been healthy. I probably put on, maybe 10 pounds, which is a little bit of a problem. But personally, I feel good right now. And I'm
Glad
really
to hear that.
Yeah, and you know what? Bill, one thing that I feel good about is that Stew Leonard's was able to be open through this entire pandemic. I feel really good about our suppliers that have been able to supply us. And, we were one of the few stores with full shelves, and I have lots of IOUs out right now because our suppliers have done a lot of nice favors. And I'm also proud of the fact that we've been able to have full employment. So we've been paying our taxes. We didn't get any PPP money. We didn't get anything from the government. We've just been helping. And so, and I feel good that we helped the community out and that, we were there for our customers when they needed us.
Well, as a frequent person in your stores, I can tell you we love Stew Leonard's, and we're glad you're still there and always there for us. Stu, can you tell us some of the changes that you were forced to make as a result of the pandemic and that people will see when they come into your store?
Well, I think it's been a rolling changes as we've been going through it. Obviously, when the news first broke, we put a crisis team together at Stew Leonard's that was just monitoring, CDC, it was monitoring WHO, it was just looking for any of the governor's executive orders that were put out every day. So we were continually changing, but I think the big things that we did was in order to make sure we had super good cleaning, we closed all the stores at 8 o'clock at night. We went in and really did triple deep cleaning at the store, bleaching, sanitizing, and of course, soap and water. So that was one thing we saw. And then the other thing was we got our people together and really tried to disseminate the news to them as they were working at the store. So, today, just from our team member standpoint, everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing gloves. We've sort of made the cafeteria into library cubicles so people couldn't sit next to each other. That was very, believe it or not, I think that was one of the best things we did. We spread everybody out. We let them eat up on a balcony that we have, saying in the stores. And so I feel like, we communicated a lot to our people. The other thing was we just went on cleaning blitzes all day. We got somebody out there with shopping carts, wiping them down and sanitizing them. We got Sandy wipes all over the place. We got hand sanitizer all over. So if you feel like you just want to clean your hands anywhere, there's just about something there for you to do it. The cashiers, for instance, even wiping down the register belts and so forth. Then we put all sorts of striping down on the floors for social distancing. We moved some displays around in the store to make sure that it didn't create any congestion at all. And one of the things that helped at Stew Leonard's was you have these extra wide aisles because it's a one-way aisle through the store. So that really it was a positive thing, that customers really appreciated because you didn't have to be bunched up. You could really spread yourself out in the store. We number of people, we went to 50% occupancy. We did that about, probably 2 months ago. And we only allow 50% of the people in the store at each time. Another thing we did was really doubled up on the cashiers so that people could get out quick. So nobody was waiting and congregating in line. I think we put in 10,000 square feet of plexiglass since this whole thing started. It's amazing. Everywhere, our butcher shop even has a plexiglass barrier so that you're not in direct facial, discussion with the butcher. We did it at the deli department. We did it in the ice cream department. At the register booths, we put plexiglass. So we really tried to prevent any, the customer from really feeling uncomfortable with that. And, the other thing that's really important is that we did at the store was lots of communication. We did daily updates and just really tried to educate our people. And I want to thank even out in Nassau County there, but we were lucky enough to get your doctor, from the town of Hempstead, Dr. Duber, and he was so nice. The county sort of loaned him to us a little bit for advice. And we asked our people through a survey to write down the top 16 questions they had about the virus. And then we gave them to the doctor, and he sat and answered every single one of them for our people. And that was really powerful. Each question is a separate thing on YouTube. And so our people were able to go in and does it get on my clothes? The doctor answered it. Do masks help? The doctor answered it. How clean is Stew Leonard's when I come into work every day? The doctor answered it. So that was something that was really very helpful to us also.
I'm sure your staff really appreciates this too, and it says a lot about you and your business, which we all know is a kind of a model for any type of marketing or retail business. But just to see the care that you're taking, certainly if I worked there, I would think, okay, somebody's got my back and it's my boss, Stew Leonard. So I know you're working for them.
Well, Bill, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm just echoing what I'm sure all our listeners are hearing. How has the checkout process changed from the customer's viewpoint?
Well, I think, first of all, you have plexiglass barriers up at each register. We've noticed a tremendous shift from, I'll just say tremendous reduction in the amount of cash. People are using much more credit cards. They're also using a lot more Apple Pay because they don't have to use a credit card. And so they're trying to not touch anything when they come through the registers right now. Those are the biggest changes I would say we've seen at the front end right now.
And I know you're famous for free samples, one of the reasons why I like your store so much. Has that changed, and did you have to close that part of the business down?
Well, you know what, Bill? I wrote down some things just with our managers, and we were talking about what has changed at Stew Leonard's due to the coronavirus. And the first thing, like you mentioned, are the free samples. We've had to stop them. I hear Costco now is just getting ready to launch them again. And I'm trying to actually find out what they're doing that is with their new sample rollout program. I'm sure they put all sorts of restrictions. That'll be a plexiglass area. And, how they allow customers to taste food is probably going to change. The other thing we did was we had these big loose bagel bins. We make thousands of fresh bagels every day, and customers used to come in and pick them themselves. We had to stop that. We now put a table and a hostess there, And so you tell them what bagels you want, and the hostess gets them for you. Our food buffets, which is a big thing, those were an enormous success at the store. And, we've had to close them down basically. But we were able to put some plexiglass up in front of some of our buffets, and we let, again, a hostess serve the customers. We've had to tone down our animation in the stores. We've also found a lot less kids coming in at Stew Leonard's, which was always a real plus for parents to be able to bring their kids. What New York Times called us a Disneyland, a dairy store. So we have all this animation, but we've had to put them on vacation because we didn't want people to congregate in the store at all. Wiping down shopping carts, as I mentioned before, we're requesting that everybody comes in the store just one per family. So you see a lot less people in the store right now. We've also seen a huge explosion in home delivery and curbside pickup at the store. So customers don't want to come in.
Stu, I'd like to just let our audience know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. I'm Bill Horan, and today we're talking to Stew Leonard Jr. He is the president and CEO of Stew Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods. They have locations in Farmingdale and East Meadow, and I can attest to the fact that everything is very good. Stu, now the attractions for the children, the animatronics, etc., I understand those are off. Why is that? Were they looking up too much, or was that causing delays?
Well, yeah, it was, because obviously the shows are sometimes 2 minutes each. And what you do is have a bunch of, moms and dads and their kids just stand there watching the show. So, we were really working hard at getting people to socially distance within the store, and that just wasn't doing it. So we put them on vacation. And another thing, too, is we have had less kids in the store because most parents want to leave their kids home now. They don't want to bring them out in public if they don't have to.
How about seniors? I think I saw that you set aside the first hour of the day for seniors to shop. Has that been a winning formula?
That's been really great. And a lot of seniors, actually, I'm one of them.
Me too.
But we've seen they really appreciate that. The store is not crowded at all. We have people who can actually go and help a lot of them with their shopping, and so it's really been successful.
So many amazing points. I'm sitting here honestly enamored hearing you say all these things, because how many things have been changed for the positive. And I'm sure going forward, it's going to lead to a lot of, again, more positive results, reductions in other kinds of, even if it's a minor cold or a flu or something that we would get. There's so many things that you and many of the other stores are doing to help. Now, we've all heard about items that have been hard to find. We all know about toilet paper, hand sanitizer, etc. How have you been able to maintain such a good supply chain?
Well, I think one of the important things is that you start with great relationships with your suppliers. And most of our suppliers we've been dealing with for 20 or 30 years. We don't just, if there's a little issue, or we just don't quit and go to the next less expensive supplier that comes in. So we've developed some very, very strong relationships with our farmers. Many of them are families and next generation. A lot of our suppliers used to deal with my dad, here at the store. Now they're dealing with me, and I'm dealing with their kids. So we've just had some real good relationships. When the tough times come like they did, and it was really hard to get product, we were on the front of their delivery schedule. They were going to make sure we received the product. And I explain to people, it's sort of like if you go to a restaurant frequently, and one night you call and you need reservations on a Friday night at 6:00. Chances are, if you're a good customer, they'll squeeze you in somehow. And that's sort of what our suppliers did.
I think personally, just listening and knowing your operation, you treat the customers correctly, you treat your suppliers correctly, and both ends come back to you and treat you correctly too. And it's a win-win and kind of an old-fashioned formula, but maybe one we should see more of in business today.
You probably see it in your business yourself. I mean, you develop relationships with different people over the years, and you're able to get interviews with them, like today.
There you go.
Hey, Bill's on. Okay, sure, I'd be happy to do an interview with him.
Believe me, talking to you is one of my goals in life, because going back into the 1980s, I remember reading about this fantastic business by Stew Leonard's in Connecticut. I went to visit your store there one day. I thought I was at a church carnival. There were police in the street, etc., and it was no church carnival. It was the parking lot of your store in Norwalk, Connecticut. It was so busy. You had the animals out there. You had people parking, children running all over. So yeah. I've been a big fan of yours. Stu, what about prices? Now, that's one thing that all of us face, and we hear from suppliers. And in fact, I see in many stores, we can't help it. Meat prices are just going up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, meat really has been an anomaly in the market. I mean, when I look at all our departments in our store, and we're buying fresh from the farm, so we're riding a lot of these market, gyrations. If it rains in California, obviously the price of berries is going to go up a little bit more. What happened with meat is that they got hit with the coronavirus out there. These big meat packing plants that supplied major chunks of the country, they got hit and they went down to 70% capacity. So when I talked to our ranchers, like in Montana, Fred Wacker out there, he said, I got tons of cattle out here just chewing on grass right now. And he said, I can't get them into these packing plants because they don't have enough workers to process all the beef. So the virus hit the Midwest. When that happens, supply in the country shrinks and the demand is high for everybody. Restaurants are closed, so forth. So we did see an increase in meat prices, which are starting to subside right now.
That's a good word.
We're just following the market. They're almost back up to 100% capacity, and you're starting to see them come down. We had a little blip with the egg prices in there, but that was just temporary. But other than that, we have not raised any prices in our store, and we kept everything the same. And if somebody went in and looked at the shopping cart today, it wouldn't cost any more today than it did 2 months ago.
That's great and gives us a lot of confidence, makes us all feel good, which is obviously important.
Yeah.
Stu, from the point of view of your employees, what have you done and what has the store done for them and to increase their safety in this time?
Well, one thing we've done is given them all an appreciation pay of $2 an hour. So they all been earning extra money, because I and my family and myself, we just want to thank everybody for being out on the front lines. And that's one thing I'm finding with businesses that are reopening now. They just sort of assume everybody who used to work for them wants to come back to work. And I've been really talking to, different people about the fact that don't anticipate that happening. There's a lot of people that don't want to come in. We've had 100 people at Stew Leonard's. We offer them a 30-day sabbatical because a lot of them like to go back to their country, Italy or France or Brazil or wherever. So we let them take 30 days off. We don't pay them for that, but we had 100 people just say, I want a 30-day sabbatical. And I didn't expect that to happen. But we did that. We're giving everybody $2 an hour. We've done a lot for education. We've communicated with them a lot. We're constantly thanking them for being out on the front line during such a difficult time. And fortunately, we've had really, I feel very good about our team of people at Stew Leonard's, and I can't thank them enough for going through this.
And believe me, it shows. And I think I'm just going to say for myself, listening to you talk, I would love to have that be my boss talking or someone I'm working with. Because, again, I know they've got my back. We're in this together. And I think people want to work for an organization like yours.
Hey, Bill, you know what made me feel good? I was standing with a couple of our managers in East Meadow, our store there, and a mother came up to me and said, I got to thank you. And I figured, it's probably going to be about being open or our shelves were full or something. But instead she said, my son's 17 years old and he never had a job. And she said he was sort of dragging around the house a little bit. And I told him he had to go get a job. So he got one here at Stew Leonard's in East Meadow. And she said, I can't tell you the change in this guy. He's up at 7 a.m. in the morning on his way to work. And he comes home and he loves it. And he's all excited about it. And she said, I just can't thank you enough for what you did for my son. And I said, well, this is what our managers, I was with her to Joe, who'd been with us 30-something years. I said to Joe, you know what? Of everything that happened, that makes me feel the proudest when a mom does that.
It says a lot about you, the culture of your business, and as you give credit, your managers and all of your staff members when a new member talks that way.
Yeah.
Before we go further, once again, I'd like our audience to know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here today talking to Mr. Stew Leonard, the president and CEO of Stew Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods. And they have two Long Island locations in Farmingdale and East Meadow. And if you haven't tried one, get out there and take a look and make it a day for yourself. Stew, what about apps like Instacart? Are you finding you're using them? Are they good for business? How do they fit into your operation?
Well, first of all, that area of the business has exploded and gone up tremendously since we started. And we also use curbside pickup where you can call up an order and come over to the store and get it picked up. And that's really the same thing, just exploded. But Instacart, I think like everybody else sort of got caught in the dark a little bit because I don't think they ever anticipated the demand for home delivery during the COVID-19 crisis. And so it took them a while, and we heard from some of our customers, I ordered from Instacart, but I can't get it for 2, 3, 4 days sometimes. Basically they have somebody come in and shop Stew Leonard's and then go deliver it to the customer's house. So we were having a hard time, just getting food delivered quicker to customer's house. Curbside solved all those problems because you can go online, you can order, at stewshop.com, and you can buy everything that you want and come right over to the store within an hour or two and pick it up.
Can't get much better than that. You call in your food order, you don't have to go looking for it. You take the burden off, and we come to the curb, basically barely get out of the car to pick it up.
Well, it's interesting, Bill. A lot of people never experienced that before. So what we're seeing is a huge growth in that. We're wondering, post-coronavirus, how many people are now going to be used to getting food delivered to their house, and we're having someone walk it out to your car. So we're seeing that as a change in retail right now.
Oh, I'm sure many changes are coming up. We hear on Long Island, certainly with restaurants closing, that was a main source for many of our food banks. Is that impinging? I don't want to say impinging. Is that a part of your operation that so many of the food banks are in need of food today?
Yeah, and that's something we're continually working on. We already have sent a trailer and a half load of food to some of the food banks. We haven't done anything in Long Island yet, or New Jersey, but we've been helping out Connecticut, New York right now, and we're constantly, accumulating food right now to give to the food banks. Because I had one customer come up to me, it broke my heart, but we were giving containers of chicken chili out, and she was like people were coming up with their 2 little kids begging, could I please have 2 of them, and the line was extremely long, like I guess one of those big long lines, but they were waiting. And it just makes you realize, how lucky many of us are, and there's a lot of people out there in need right now, and we're trying to do everything we can to help them out.
Well, we thank you, and so many of our guests on the show have been so generous, so kind to people. And in this time, we all have problems to look at, but obviously food is a big one and probably the main one for all of us. So very much appreciation to you and to the staff at both and all of the Stew Leonard stores. Stew, so much has been going on. You've been telling us today, and as I said, I'm amazed at what you've been already doing. How do you see this going forward? Are many of these changes going to stay on after the pandemic? Are we going to see them develop even further into what we may never even conceive of as a retailing operation?
Well, I think the big question is, when will a vaccine come out? Because I think once you see the vaccine come out, I think that's going to change everything. And it'll take a little while, but I think things will go back to normal. In the meantime, right now, I think it's our business has changed. We're not going to open the buffets up. Like our animal farm in Yonkers, New York, at a store there, the state is not allowing us to open that up right now. So we would normally have a bunch of goats and chickens and ducks and everything in our farm, and we don't have that now. So I think you're going to see things operate a little bit looser than they are today, but I don't think you're going to see it go back to the way it was until there's a vaccine.
Well, you've certainly done a great job with everything. You've been watching out for us, etc. And let me just ask you on a personal note, what was your best day during this pandemic? Was there a best or worst day that got you through?
That's a good question. I would say, and I mentioned it before, the best day, I think, was that lady coming up to me telling about her son working at the store.
Well, and that should be, and that really is an accolade. When I go into a store, I always look, if there are employees there a number of years, if I can see a friendly face, if someone says, "Hi, Bill, how are you?" or they recognize me, that tells me more about the business. I don't have to look at prices. I don't have to look for sales. That's the business I want to deal with, and I think most of our audience too. Listen, we really appreciate you taking time out, especially during this busy season, what everybody is going through, and especially in your business. Thanks for educating us on all that's been going on. We'd like to let our audience know that today we've been talking to Stew Leonard Jr., the president and CEO of Stew Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, with 2 Long Island locations in Farmingdale and East Meadow. Stew, please keep up the amazing work that you're doing and all the other markets to help Long Island, and know that WHPC is here to support you in all your efforts. So thanks so much for taking time out to be with us today.
Oh, well, thank you.
We'd like to let our audience know that you've been listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to whpc@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.